Hello, I'm Debbie and I'm a volunteer for Crafting for Good. I'm doing this live video for Crafting for Good and I'm one of their volunteers. So I'm going to be using their list book, which is a download from the Printable Craft website. If you go onto there are a variety of these to pick from. This one is the white peony and you download all elements that you need for this. On this one I've popped post-it notes in, little sticky tabs, and I've made a pen holder, and I've used the notepad function on the opposite side. So this is the White Peonies list book, and what you need to make this, if you go into the Printable craft shop, if you download the White Peonies you can make the one I've just showed you. Alternatively, this is the dragonfly one, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. This is the front cover, and this is the little tab that you use for the header on your notepad. So when we get to that part I'll show you how to make that. You also have the back cover, which matches. You have decoupage toppers element, but you also have an inside cover to cover the inside of the cover. And you also have matching backing paper if you wanted to use matching backing paper. And then you have the absolutely beautiful notepad pages. On these you have your dragonflies top and bottom that you cut out. So what we're going to start by doing is just cutting out the note holder section. I've already pre-cut the rest so you don't need to watch me cut all of those out. Do excuse my cold, I am full of cold at the moment, so my voice isn't as clear as it could be. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out the little notepad holder, so bear with me because the guillotine will make a loud noise. So I've just cut out the notepad holder. I'm going to finish cutting it with my scissors. Only reason is just the way we have to do it. So the top section of each, you cut down the top line there to the score line. So I'm going to cut down the inside line to the score line, and then I'm going to cut away the little white sections that we don't need. Exactly the same on the other side. Cut down the score line to the centre score line. Now, using your scoreboard, you're going to score up the lines. So when you score them, I'm just going to fold them for this instance, just because it's quicker and easier to show you. Just going to score those. And you do the same down the centre panel line. So you're going to score all the lines. Now you have an option for this, so the little white circles, you can hole punch those, and you can actually attach your notepad pages by brads through the matching holes on the paper. What I've done with mine, I've actually glued it like a book. So I've just used PVA glue, held all the pages together, and glue all across the top where I want the seam to be. Then I put this, once I've made it up, on top to hold it all together, and I've held it together with bulldog clips. So to do this part, once you've folded over the ends, we're just going to glue the ends together. Just going to put a little bit of wet glue on there. Just going to do top and bottom because it just gives me a little bit of wiggle time, this glue does. And I'm going to be using mini pegs just to hold this together while it sets. It does take about 2 minutes for this glue to dry fully. And I just want a nice firm seal. The good thing with wet glue is it actually seeps into the fibre of the cardstock, so it does give you a much better seal. So you'll find if you're gluing anything with wet glue, it does make it a lot firmer and a lot tougher. So that is now stuck together, ignoring the little pegs on the ends. So that's made a little holder that our paper is going to sit into. So with your notepad pages, it comes as 2 per page. Again, I've gone for the dragonfly option. If you have a look at the top, you have the little white matching holes if you wanted to use brads, that you can attach that into your paper holder. I'm just going to trim this out a little bit quickly. As you can see, they're really easy to cut out. Oops. Just making sure I get all the white edges off. So that is the pages trimmed out. I generally do about 25 prints of these, and that gives me 50 pages. If you've got a handheld hole punch, you can actually punch through the tops, and that will give you the holes in there. And then put them in there, line up the holes, and then you can put your brad all the way through. Or you can do what I've done, which is literally pour wet glue across the top, pop it inside the holder, and using a bulldog clip, I just hold it shut until it's completely dry, which then gives me a notepad, which is what I have here. So completely glued in across the top. I've also perforated the pages. So on these you have a little dotted line. I don't know if you can see that if I hold it quite close. A little dotted line on there. If you have a trimmer that perforates, you can then perforate those lines. So when you have your notepad, if you've used the top page and you think, yep, I've used that, I don't need to keep it, you literally tear off from the perforations, and then you have your next page ready to go. And by perforating it, it leaves you a lovely clean edge if you pull the top page off. So I've made up my books. We've got our header. Now we've printed out the front page, which is the list book title, and you have your dragonflies and a little decoration on there. We've printed out the little pink section that goes on the inside cover. Now what you can do if you wanted to on the cover pages, if you print on the inside, or turn them over and print on the opposite side with the background paper, you'll then get a matching colour like I've done on this one. So you've got the matching colour on both sides. Now I've cut that out completely and that's ready to go. So that's my back cover, that is my front cover. Now with the inside cover, by popping that on the inside and lining it up, it gives you a much firmer cardstock. I tend to print on about 250 GSM cardstock, sometimes 300. It depends on what I'm doing, but the choice is yours with your printer. So you print on whatever your printer will take. And if it's not as thick as you'd like it to be, print out 2 copies and then glue them back to back. And then that way you have the double thickness of the card. So the front of this is going to be at 500 GSM because I've printed on 250 GSM. Now I've used wet glue and I'm just simply smoothing it out to make sure the glue goes into all the edges so it's nice and sealed. I'm going to turn it over and make sure it's lined up and I don't get any white bits on the opposite side. Now to make the front and the back go together, you have a little tab on the front and the back. What we're going to do is glue those together. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of wet glue. It's up to you whether you use wet glue or whether you use tape. Entirely your choice, whatever your preference is and whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong with crafting. If you enjoy it and you like the end result, then it's right. So making sure the ends butt nicely close together. Does take about 2 minutes to dry, this does. So once it's all in the right place, make sure it pushes down and it's all lined up. So I'm just turning it backwards and forwards to make sure it's fully lined up. If you wanted to put a couple of pegs either end to hold this together, you can do. Now for your front cover, if I just get my front cover section that I showed you earlier, we've cut off the end to make our paper holder. On this you have the lovely dragonflies. What you'll find is if you print more than one sheet you can decoupage them up even more, but on the inside sheet, so this part sits on the inside of the front cover, that's your decoupage dragonflies. So when you cut those out you can actually then glue them on top. So here are the ones I've cut out. I've curved the wings and I've added glitter to them. So it gives them a little bit of dimension. As you can see, they're not flat. And what I'm going to do is use a little bit of glue gel, and I'm going to glue those onto my cover once I've actually made the list book itself. So this is drying. What I've done is I've actually printed a second copy of the cover, and I'm actually going to stick that to the inside back of the book. Again, just to make it a lot firmer. So if your printer doesn't take a heavyweight card, by just printing an extra copy, it can make it very, very thick. So I've already got 250 GSM cardstock down there, another 250 GSM cardstock. So this is now going to be 500 GSM thick. So this is more like a board than it is a card. I'm just lining it up to make sure it lines up perfectly and you don't see it from the other side. Now these little list books are absolutely brilliant. On the demonstration one that I've already made, as you can see on this one, I have the line notepad here. I have my post-it notes, I have my little tabs to highlight the pages, and I have my pen. Using a little piece of scrap card to make the pen holder, all I've done is one of the cut off pieces of white card, I've measured it around my pen, rolled it round, cut it to size, and then glued it flat, and that then holds my pen in there. So while I'm just waiting for this to seal and dry, which won't take long, the glue dries in about 2 minutes, so it's literally going to be dry in about another 30 seconds. So I've now got the matching picture on the inside as well as the outside. I've glittered it, which you're not going to really be able to see on screen, but I've actually glittered all the butterflies. Now, using one of the notepads that we've just seen how to make, I'm actually going to glue the back of this onto the back inside cover. Plenty of glue on there, we want it to stick, and I'm just sticking the whole back page down. Once I've got it lined up where I want it to be, make sure it's a lovely tight stick. So that will take 2 minutes to dry. Now, if you've been on the Printable Craft Store website before, they do journaling sets and they do planners and a variety of other things. These are from the planner set. So we did a planner tutorial before Christmas, and then this is the little note pages, and this is a to-do checklist. So you have your lined areas and then you have your ticks at the side to say you've done it. I'm actually going to intermix this into the list book. So you're going to have a tick sheet on the one side, and you're going to have your list to make notes on the other side. So you could use the post-its if you choose to. You could use 2 lined pages if you choose to. You could just have 1 page and leave it like that and fold it shut. Entirely your preference. The bonus thing about these, you can print off these as many times as you want. Once you've actually bought the download, which is extremely cost effective, it's entirely up to you then how many you print off, how you adapt this to work for you. So I'm actually going to pop in there the tick sheet. So I want something that I can tick, so it's my to-do list. Plenty of glue on that again. And we're going to pop this on the end. So press it down, make sure it seals nice and tight. Now this is actually the basis of your book made. So your list book is done, you've got your note pages, you've got your tick sheet, you've got a heavy duty front and back covered because we've double lined it so it's very, very thick and it's more like a board. What we're then going to do is open it out. I'm just going to make sure the folds fold nice and neat. So as you can see now, you've got quite a thick book. Very easy to take around. It's smaller than A5 size, so it will fit in bags. If you're at work, you can take it to work with you, use it for your meetings, use it for your to-do list, make notes. That's nice and stuck now. So the inside, I have my tick sheet, which I've used from my planners, and I have my to-do list and my notepad list. With the front cover, we have the dragonflies on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue gel. So this is just a thick version of a liquid glue, and what this does, this allows me to 3D anything I want to. So I'm going to literally squirt the glue gel down the body of the dragonfly and a big blob on the wings, so he's actually going to be raised up. I don't know why, all my little characters are men, so every time I make something it's always a he. No idea why. So that's now ready to find the matching dragonfly, and we're going to stick it down and we're going to leave that to dry. Now the glue gel, it grabs immediately, but you want to leave it to set. You ideally want to leave this a good few hours to actually dry completely. You will find it's grabbed immediately, so as soon as you've stuck it down, the glue gel is literally grabbed to the card, but you can lift it off and you can remove it and reposition it. So again, I'm just applying plenty of glue gel. This is on the big dragonfly now, and I'm going to pop him down. Now I have curved the wings of the dragonfly just to give them a little bit more shape, so it's just a little bit more 3D. Once this is fully dry, what you'll find is it won't move. So when you turn your lid up, your front cover over, and you start writing on the inside notepad, this will still stay in position. It won't ruin it for you. The little baby dragonfly next, and all we're going to do him, little rundown with the wet glue, little bit on the tips of the wings, and he's ready then to be stuck down. I've pre-glittered these, so I don't need to wait for them to dry to glitter. This will take literally, I want to leave this a good 2 or 3 hours at least for this all to dry. But as you can see, I can turn it upside down and they don't fall off. It's grabbed immediately, but you can then see the height on the decoupage where I've layered up the dragonflies, and they just look absolutely stunning, glittered up and made into a nice 3D cover. So just to summarise, we've made the list book. This is from the Printable craft shop that you can go in and purchase and download any of their items that they have on there. This is one of the range of the list book. This is the dragonfly one. The one we did earlier is the white peony one, and we have post-it notes, tabs and a notelit pad in there. This is a dragonfly one that we've just watched me make. This is your list book. We have our little to-do tick list on the one side, and we have our notepad on the other side. This is a demonstration for the Printable craft shop, Crafting4Good. My name is Debbie and I'm a volunteer for them. I'll be back here again next Thursday at 6:45 doing another demonstration with more of their projects. I will try and do sneak peeks throughout the week so you know what's coming. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please pop along to the Printable craft shop website, have a look at what they've got. They do a lot for charity, and a lot of stuff they sell, they give back to the community 10 times over. So anything you buy from them, you know your money is being put to good use, and it's going back into the community. And the bonus when you buy things like this, once you've got it, you can print it out and make it out 100 times, 1,000 times, as much as you want to. They make absolutely beautiful gifts for people, and they make nice gifts for yourself. So this one I may be using myself, I'm afraid. This may be my new little notebook. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.